What's going on, everybody? It's Prem here again, and welcome back to day 8 of Growth Every Day. You might be a little confused why I'm squatting again after squatting yesterday, but today I decided to skip the skipping sequence and actually work on some of my mobility. So I was planning on doing some banded calf drills, but then I'm like, you know what? Let me do some research first on how I can get into a better positioning for my squat. So as you can see here, my squats are looking so much better than yesterday. That's because I've incorporated some new cues that I learned from a YouTuber called Eugene Teo. I will link his channel down in the description below, but I've been watching his channel for a little bit now. And I watched a video, and I will link that video as well as his channel down below, on common mistakes for squatting and why you have the butt wink, quote unquote, which is where you're at the bottom position of a squat and your butt kind of curves down. And I took some of his cues into account and adjusted my stance a little bit, and I felt so much better squatting today. I mean, I'm nowhere near perfect, obviously, but it looks so much better. I mean, previously when I used to squat with the bar, right, my used to cave in so much, a lot of butt wink, it felt tight. But when I was doing it here, it felt so much nicer. And as you can see, I'm kind of experimenting with it, I still need to work on my mobility, ankle mobility, maybe even hip mobility a little bit. But I was really focusing on keeping my rib cage over my pelvis. That's one of the things he says in the video. Here you can see me experimenting with some front squats. And I still do have a little bit of butt wink. But you know what? It's not as bad as it was before. And honestly, I'm okay with it. I'm just trying to take off the strain that I feel sometimes in my lower back when I squat. Like, I feel like my lower back works a lot. It's not in pain, but it's definitely working and I can feel it. Then I decided to elevate my heels a little bit. So here you can see me elevating the heels doing with the bar, and that looks phenomenal. So yesterday I elevated the heels, right, and it still felt good, but now that I've adjusted my stance and moved my feet out a little wider, meaning I should rephrase that, not move my feet out wider, but moved, literally like taking my feet and push them so that they're pointed out more. I mean, you can just see a world of difference. Like, if you watch the last video and this video, it's me squatting the bar, same setup, just a different foot positioning, and boom, like, I am sinking the weight and it feels good. You know what I mean? So I decided that I'm going to start doing, an alternating between doing a skipping sequence on one day and then the next day doing some calf mobility, maybe calf raises, and just like some hip mobility, like active mobility though. I'm not talking about passive stretching. I'm talking about like banded stuff and where you're actively getting into positions, because I want to see how that's going to affect my squat and really just do an experiment with myself. The next kind of variable I was testing today, because again, I'm not doing any working sets here. I'm really just trying to experiment. I put 135 on the bar because I noticed before that when I had weight on the bar, it felt like it was easier to keep my chest up, and I could get down lower without the butt wink. And again, I adjusted my stance so that my feet are really pointed outwards more. And that made, again, such a huge world of difference. You can see I'm keeping really upright, and it looks like a perfect squat. And here I decided to experiment with the weight and the elevated heels. And honestly, I just think my squat has never looked this good before in my life. I mean, this is incredible to me that I've never tried putting my feet out like a little like wider, meaning pointing my toes out a little more, because my feet are still like just slightly outside of my hips, but my toes are now pointed much farther out than they were, yesterday, and that's making such a world of difference. You can see like how much more upright I'm able to stay and how much more pelvic control I have, torso control. And again, like I said, I still need to work on some mobility, but it's only hopefully going to go up from here. But yeah, so I did some of these squats today, and then I really wanted to see like what my calf mobility was looking like. So I decided to do some just knee over toe drills, and I found out something really interesting. You can see here that when my foot is elevated on a bench, I have really great calf mobility, right? With like extremely good calf mobility. But when my foot is on the floor, it locks up, and it feels as if something is stopping me from going further, and it feels like my calves are just less flexible when my foot is not elevated on a bench. So I contacted a physical therapist, and I wanted to know, like, why is it that when I'm in a greater degree of hip flexion, meaning my foot is elevated, that it's easier for me to get a greater, degree of calf stretch. Like, I get a greater angle of stretch. Like, there's a greater degree angle of stretch. And I wanted to figure that out. But, after that, I decided, today was the day. This was my original plan. I wanted to do some push-ups and some pull-ups, easing back into it. So just doing 4 rounds of 12 push-ups into 2 pull-ups, and then finishing out the rest of the 8 reps with some lat pull-downs, because I'm not able to do more than 5 chin-ups. I used to be able to do like 12 when I was a lot lighter. Now that I'm heavier, I think my max is about 5. But again, just easing into it, did 2, and then doing 8 of the lat pull-downs directly afterwards, just for some volume. And I just do 4 rounds of that. So while this footage is playing, I just want to take a little bit of time, and you know me on this channel, if you haven't known by now, that I really do believe in discipline. I really do believe in overcoming things, and I think that if you're sound in the mind, like I've always said, that you will be sound in the body. And I think there's a great lesson that we can learn from my squat and experimenting today is, in the past, the squat has always been the hardest movement for me to learn, and I'm still learning today, obviously, right? And in the past, I remember whenever I would have to work on my squat, I would get discouraged. I would get down because I felt like I wasn't obviously where I wanted to be, which is being able to do like a really, perfect squat with perfect form, with, good weight, and, be strong in that movement, and it would get me down that I would have to like restart and relearn and do whatever, because I felt like it was a reflection on me as an athlete, right? But now, today, that thought didn't even cross my mind of like, oh, I have to rebuild this now, or I have to do this, or I have to incorporate something new. Like, why can't it's been like 5 years, why isn't my squat just perfected yet? And the answer to that question is it will never be perfect. Like, everything you do, you can continuously work at. And my squat is so much far improved from when I first started 5 years ago. I have no pain, even with my little butt wink that I have now, no pain in the lower back, no whatever. But there is still stuff that I want to fix. Even though I don't have pain in my lower back, I still do feel like it's working more than it needs to. I want to put more emphasis on the quads, put more emphasis on the glutes. Make sure I'm mobile enough, not only so that I can squat, but just so that I can live my daily life even better than I am now. So, what people might see as a roadblock or something that's like, oh, why is this happening, is always an opportunity for you to learn something about yourself. And it's always an opportunity for you to grow past where you are right now. It's the 2 steps forward, 1 step back mentality. Taking that 1 step back kind of sucks, yeah, but you're gonna take 2 steps forward. It's necessary for you to take those 2 steps forward. So whenever you guys hit a little roadblock or something that needs to be fixed, take it with, a positive attitude, because it's necessary for you to grow. And again, that goes with anything in the gym and outside of the gym. But it looks like my time is running out here, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends. And I will definitely be back with another video tomorrow. Looks like the video's just ended. I really appreciate every single one of you for tuning in. And leave any feedback in the comments below. All right, guys, I'm going to sign off here for today. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Later.